All right, so two major things that I learned about the Fort Humboldt were that there was an Indian massacre, and that General Grant, or that Ulysses S. Grant was there. Okay. Now I asked the question: was he there during the massacre? And no, he was there about 1854, and the massacre occurred in 1860. But there was a run-up before the massacre occurred. There was a lot of talk and rumors and speculation that probably were circulating at the time he was there. 6 years before the massacre was executed, before hundreds of Indians, women and children, the village was burnt, just everything. There was just a complete racially motivated massacre that occurred on the coast. Pretty much whites invading the Indian villages. There are people talking about it. It just doesn't spontaneously occur. Okay. And what they said on the signs in the Humboldt fort were that he General or Grant, he was a captain at the time, a quartermaster, so he distributed supplies. He worked pretty much in the supply building. They said that he was a loner, that he would frequent the saloons and ride his horse in the countryside in his short time there. I think he was there less than a year. But it's like, if you're going to hang out at the saloons, that's like the primary place where people will spread gossip. And he's probably overheard a lot of conversations about people's hatred for the Indians and possible planning about operations against them. It's not entirely clear what exactly was going on, but I mean, it seems like before major wars like this, before these major assaults, massacres happen, there's going to be some poking around. There's going to be some minor assaults on the people, just everyday aggressiveness in some way that leads up to the massacre. There's a tipping point. Okay. While Grant was stationed there, the tipping point wasn't quite reached. They were just still in a very volatile, just to high tension. Tension was increasing. This is the time he was pretty much getting out of the military. That was his last year in 1854. I mean, he fought in the Mexican War about less than 10 years before, in his 20s, in his teens and 20s, the way it seems. Probably his really early 20s, because he got out at age 28 in 1854. And then it wasn't until maybe it was 32. I think it was age 32 when he got out. And then it wasn't until the Civil War that occurred, like 10 years later, that he got back in as general and fought that successfully. But yeah, he was a part of a lot of these racially motivated tensions. I mean, he was one of the people on the battlefront invading Mexico, rolling into Mexico, and marching all the way to Mexico City until Mexico finally surrendered. Okay, he was a part of that. And if you look at some pictures of the Indians, I forget the name of the tribe exactly. The Indians, the local Indians around Eureka, they kind of have a resemblance to Mexicans. There's a lot of features that are very closely associated between the Indians on the coast with the Mexicans. I mean, it's the coast, and I'm sure well before white people were here, they were traveling up and down the coast. Okay, they were mostly a peaceful people, and then the white people marched in.